Hi, this is Emma with Zelch Family Homestead. Today, I thought I'd teach you how to make a baking powder biscuit. Real easy, real simple, and no need to buy canned biscuits anymore. These are very economical to make, and you can just have them every day if you want to. We're going to start out. So I'm going to change my phone and get it to where you can see what I'm doing. Eventually I'll get better at all the cooking videos, but until then you just have to bear with me and put up with it. So if that's okay with you, I'm going to change that. We're going to use our Pyrex mixing bowl. We're going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour. So I'm using a 1/2 cup measuring cup. So we'll put 4 of those in. Then we're going to take a tablespoon of sugar. Now you can omit the sugar or you can put more sugar. It depends on how you want them. We like them just a tad sweet. We're going to probably do 2 different batches of this and make some little homemade donuts as well. Just real simple ones. So then we're going to take a tablespoon of baking powder. So see that flat piece right there? You just put it in there and scrape it off. Now, anybody who's cooked any amount of time knows that, but maybe you're a young cook and you just don't know that yet. Okay, mix that in there. I'm going to set that aside. Then we're going to take a teaspoon of salt. And we'll mix that in there. Okay, we're going to mix this together to where it's kind of stirred and you don't get salt all in one spot. Just a little. Don't have to do it too much. Okay, from there, then we're going to take about a 1/2 cup of something. You can use shortening, you can use lard, you can use butter. I'm going to use butter today. I've got a nice batch of butter here, so I'm just going to use some butter. We like our butter, so I didn't really measure that out. I know about what that is. So we'll take that spoon out of there. We're going to grab a fork. And where's my fork? Bear with me a second. All right, we're going to cut this butter into our flour mixture. You're just going to kind of, like it says, cut it in there. You're going to make it to where that's kind of crumbly, not all one big glob. I have a pastry cutter, but I lent it out to one of the kids, so we'll just use a fork. Forks are easy. But we had company yesterday, and I washed my dishes, but I didn't dry them and put them away, so you had to wait on me for a minute to go find a fork back in the dish drainer. Okay, can you see how crumbly? Can you see how it's starting to get crumbly? You don't want to work them too much. So I think that will be just perfect. Then we're going to take our milk. We got raw cow's milk. We're going to add 3/4 of a cup. In. Kind of stirring it as you go. Then it's not all at one time. Now, if you're like me, and sometimes maybe you get a little too much milk, maybe you get a little too much butter, but I gave you the percentages that you needed of everything. So you might add just a little more flour, and you're going to end up turning this out on your lightly floured surface. So we'll be doing that. And then we'll roll it out and we'll cut them. And they are just going to bake up wonderfully. You will see. They will be just lovely biscuits. And you know what you could do? You can make these ahead of time, and you could have these in the freezer. So make them up, cut them out, put them on a cookie sheet, like a wax paper covered cookie sheet. Great idea. So do that, put them in the freezer, get them frozen, and then you would be able to always have fresh biscuits on hand. No need to buy canned biscuits anymore. Now, I know canned biscuits aren't really expensive, but if you're like me and you try and save pennies on everything, if it's not a good deal, you're probably not going to buy it. That's kind of the way we are. So we're going to have biscuits and gravy for lunch. So I thought I would do up some biscuits for you and just show you how easy and economical this dish is. It is just wonderful. I'm going to set this aside. We're going to just kind of lightly knead it. Can you see that? Hopefully you can see that okay. We're not going to knead it too much, just lightly. You see my salt dish? Oh, I just love it. Isn't that just beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful. It's like a pride and joy, I think. Now, you can use a rolling pin, or you can just kind of flatten it out. I have like 7 rolling pins, and you know what I usually do? I normally just flatten things out. And I'm going to use a biscuit cutter. It also has a donut hole thing on it to where you can cut donuts with it. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to make a double batch. You hear that? That's our driveway alarm. Just means somebody pulled in. Kind of lets me know when somebody else is here. That's always a good thing, to know your surroundings. You know, most people are good, and I don't worry about that too much, having too many bad people around. But you just never know, and you never know when somebody's going to pop in to visit. That's always a nice thing too. You know, some of my biscuits are not going to be a perfectly round biscuit, and for me, that is just okay. That is all right with me. I don't know about you. Is that how you like yours? I like mine to be touching each other in the pan to where they turn out kind of soft and doughy. The last of it, I probably won't cut with the cookie cutter. I'll probably just go right ahead and form them with my hands, you know, into a nice circle. So normally you would preheat your oven to 450, put them on an ungreased baking sheet, bake them for 10 to 12 minutes. What I'm gonna do is I'm putting them in my greased glass baking dish, and I'm going to bake them in my wood cook stove here as soon as I get this all done and put up. And we're just going to have some yummy biscuits. They are going to be just wonderful. I'm not quite sure who pulled up here, but somebody did. So somebody may be knocking at my door here soon. We'll see. I don't think you guys would mind if I answered the door mid-conversation with everyone, would you? I don't think so. I think that would be just fine with most everybody. So last biscuit, I'm just gonna not worry about my biscuit cutter. I'll pat it down. Oh, I bet I know who that is. I bet that someone, we had some people come by one day and they wanted us to do one of these where they hide things and then people go around and look for them. So it's like a scavenger hunt thing. So we have something hidden here on the farm that people come by and they look for. So a lot of times if I don't know who somebody is, that's what they're doing. They're looking for this thing that's hidden. And that's kind of a fun game for families. They kind of get out and about, get to do something. Now look at my hands. Whew. I'll have to work on that here. Now we're going to make up another batch, and it's going to be same basic mix. We're going to do 2 cups of flour. We're going to make it sweeter though. So we're going to do 2 cups of flour. And again, this is my 1/2 cup measuring cup. We're going to do a bunch of sugar. We're going to do probably 1/2 cup sugar. Yum. Then we're going to do 3 teaspoons of baking powder. 1 tablespoon, either one. It's basically the same thing. So I like to do just 1 tablespoon, then you get one thing dirty, and that's done. Then you're going to do a teaspoon of salt. We're going to do we're going to kind of mix that together. You remember what I'm making? I'm going to make a little thing of donuts, just homemade donuts. Nothing fancy, but they'll taste good for dessert once we get done eating. Again, we're going to put in some butter, quite a bit of butter, probably about 1/2 cup. We're going to, and again, you could use shortening, lard, butter. While I have fresh butter, I like using fresh butter. I've got it at room temperature, so it just mixes right in. If you're doing like a pastry crust, you would want to use ice water with that, and that's harder to cut in. But since we're making donuts, see how this is coming up to our little crumbles again? That is going to be just simply wonderful. There's our crumbles. I'm going to do this a little bit better to make sure that that is mixed in good. Be glad when I get my pastry cutter back. I'll get that. If I don't get it soon, I'll just find another one real quick. Okay, then we're going to do our milk. And again, I got raw cow's milk. 3/4 of a cup. We're going to stir this in. Now this is not a yeast donut, it's a baking powder donut, just like a biscuit. It'll be sweeter because we added quite a bit more sugar. And then we'll probably dust them with powdered sugar, or we'll make a glaze. And to make a glaze, it's just powdered sugar, a little bit of milk. Mix that together, kind of drip it on there, and there is your donut. So now we're going to add some more flour down here. Get that to where you can see that roll nicely. Put this out here. Quick, simple. You have a nice dessert that you can feed the family. Doesn't cost a whole bunch. So that is wonderful. That's always a good thing. We always try to make sure that we stay under budget with our groceries. Now, a lot of people spend a lot of money on groceries. We have never been able to do that. So, and if it was just me and Clyde, I think we could get by so super cheap. I bet we could get by on, I don't know, $100 a month maybe for groceries. Now, 18 grandkids, 6 kids, spouses. You never know what company's going to drop by. We have church. Now, all the ladies at church bring something, which is really good. I make a main dish. We try to spend between $200 and $300 a month on groceries. Now, yeah, it's just me and Clyde, but it's also me and Clyde, kids, grandkids, church. Oh my goodness. That gets to be a lot of people. So, that's pretty good. It would be nice to be able to spend more on groceries, but you know what? It doesn't seem like the money's always there. So I just really try to make sure that we spend little. Boy, that is not staying on there today. I'm gonna have to look at that. Well, we might just do it this way. Let's do it this way. We'll cut out our donuts, and then we'll cut out our holes. Yes, we will. I'll bet we can get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 donuts right out of here. Now, they don't have to be the sweetest. You can make them any sweetness that you like. You don't have to use sugar. You could use honey. You could use some of that pretend sugar stuff. I'm not quite sure what to think about that, but it seems like it helps an awful lot of people. I'm trying to get more into baking with some of that, so we'll see how that goes. We are getting into our roadside stand, our farm stand. I love that time of year. That is just a wonderful time of year when we're able to bake and share produce and seedlings with neighbors and friends and people we haven't met yet. That is such a blessing. Sometimes what I plan to do this year a lot is to make a whole bunch of homemade baked items. And you know what? I'm going to put some in the blessing boxes. I would think that a family, now maybe somebody might think, oh, I don't know. I don't know how that would go, because maybe somebody would put bad things in it because it's not store-bought. But if it was me and I was hungry enough to where I needed to use a blessing box, I think I would be very grateful for someone who was able to make homemade baked items and share them with me. So we'll see how that goes. Ours does not have a rule against it. I guess maybe somebody's would, because it would be like bigger cities and things. And I guess if somebody really misused that or did bad things, you couldn't do it. But if that doesn't work, or if somebody says something, and I'll just give some things away here if I see someone in need. That'd just be the way it is. I remember hearing, now I don't remember my mother, but I remember hearing that we lived kind of by the railroad when I was little. Now, she passed away when I was 6. But I've heard stories that hobos from the railroad would come to the house hungry and they're begging for food. And she would make them a sandwich. Now, isn't that just the sweetest thing you ever heard? Every time. She would never send away somebody hungry. And that's kind of the way we do here too. Nobody leaves our house hungry. And if they do, it's their own fault. There's our driveway alarm again. Who knows? So I'm gonna bake these. I'll get my oven going super good, and then I'll bake my biscuits. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna bake or fry my donuts. I think I'll bake them. I think that would be healthier. We're trying to watch it because Clyde's kind of got a little bit of high blood pressure. So we're trying to watch what he eats more. And I know donuts isn't a good thing, but he is a snacker. He loves a snack. I don't know about your husband, but my husband just loves to snack. It's like constant. So I try to have things on hand, and when I don't, he's always finding something. So I have to have crackers and peanut butter, celery and peanut butter, cream cheese, nuts, fruits, vegetables. You know, he likes a platter of sliced vegetables. He really enjoys that. He went overseas, and overseas a lot they'll have platters of things like that, and they'll just leave them on the table. Well, I don't like just leaving them on the table for very long, but they seem to leave them on the table quite often. But here we're kind of more worried about things not being as fresh as they do overseas. I think they're just worried about full bellies overseas, especially in the places that he went to. We'll talk about that another time. And I'll show you some pictures of a missionary trip he did. Wonderful, wonderful. Good man. I'm blessed to call him my husband. So I will, I think that's one of the boys. I think that's Seth down there. We have a woodworking shop, just a small one. But he loves doing woodworking. And today is his day off from his regular job. And he loves to do woodworking. So I bet he's down there, and it's right by the driveway, which means every time he goes in and out of the shop, the alarm goes off. Or it's Clyde coming back with some more materials for the welding shop. So anyway, all right, we got our biscuits cut. We got our donuts cut. We're going to get our oven going, and we're going to bake these up, and we'll see how they turned out. Okay, see this sausage? We're going to be making gravy. Sausage gravy. Oh, yum. So that's got a little bit more cooking to do. We'll throw that together. Okay, we're going to add our stuff to the oven. We're going to put our biscuits down below. I only have one rack in here. I needed to get another rack. But that will be hot, but not as hot as higher. So we'll do biscuits down below. We'll do donuts there. We'll see how that turns out. It should be yummy. Okay, draining my sausage out of here. Then I'll add my flour. Isn't that just lovely? Oh my goodness. Gravy, sausage gravy, homemade. Oh, numb. Very good. And perfect. Well, maybe not perfect, but perfect for me. And everyone will be fed lunch. Love it. May you have a blessed day. I will talk again. Have a good day.